Oh, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? YouTube land? I don't know, whatever. How y'all doing out there in YouTube? I have become just overwhelmingly attracted to this document. I somehow, in some ways, I can't believe that I'm looking at this document that was put out. So it's right on the document that it was put out by the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA. Any of you Stephen King fans out there, the NSA are the low men. I don't know, weird pause. I can't, so this is a document from the, and it says it, I mean, it's all right here. Their seals are on the paper. I'm going to tell you where I got this. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now before I get on a rant, and then I don't tell you. If you go to the Drudge and you link on the link, and you got to do it today or soon, or search Drudge and look for the link on, or you can go to Bloomberg Politics. But I just go to Drudge. He's cool anyway, and you know, what's one more link to Drudge? It's great. It's good. It helps him out. He's very important for me, and really for you if you want some truth and be able to read it, read a different perspective, and get this stuff. Let me get this out. Trump says only fools see good with ties with Russia as bad. So Trump is saying that only a fool would see good ties with Russia as a bad thing. You look for that. Trump says only fools see good ties with Russia as bad. Look for that on the Drudge Report. And when you're looking down in that article, very quickly, like as soon as you'll see a picture of, I haven't got the software yet, I'll get to it, man. These guys, you know, the Britishers putting up cool pictures, and hard bastards got like the stuff right there scrolling, man, you know, and that's pretty bad to the bone. One of you brothers help somebody out, tell you, don't tell him where you get the software if it was open source. Anyway, I'm digressing like I always will. So Putin here, there's a picture of him if you're on the right spot, and as soon as you scroll down past the picture of Putin, it looks like he's strutting towards you. Got on a cornflower blue top, I guess, I don't know if it's cornflower, I think that's light, but the light blue shirt and a darker blue tie with dots on it, and he's like one of these poses, like he's walking, you know, towards you in an action motion. And he, man, I tell you, I don't know what to say, man. Putin seems intelligent. Man, he seems tough to me. The guy's kind of old, and he looks like he's hard as the Russian hammer and as sharp as the sickle that crosses it. Anybody gets that movie reference, it says it in the views, man. I ain't gonna give nothing. I just put it in the comments if you get that movie reference. But if you scroll down past that picture, you'll see right after, it's like the second, they don't indent it, but I guess that probably the British would have a problem. They're horrible. I mean, some of the spelling on these websites are like web papers. I don't want to mock them because my spelling's horrible. Probably why I'm doing it. But you'll see, read the full report here, PDF, click that. And when you click on that, the PDF, sure enough, pops up. Now, I'm down like page 9 of 25, and I just want to, first I want to read you something. There is, it's really small print. It says, this fact, all I got to do is make it bigger right here. But, excuse me. It says, this report is a declassified version of a highly classified assessment, semicolon. Its conclusions are identical to those in the highly classified assessment, but this version does not include the full supporting information on key elements of the influence campaign. Listen, brothers and sisters, I don't want to put a lot of commentary on this, because y'all folks ain't stupid. But remember, the NSA are the low men. Huh. What's the CIA? Don't they call them spooks? They call each other spooks. I'm almost positive. The CIA, this, you know, I'm not going to digress. Let me just read you some of their document. And when you're on page 9, it says contents, and I mean, they really make it look official, and they use a bunch of big words, and I'm sure whoever put this together makes a lot more than the Ogre, than you, and you. I ain't going to keep on naming names. I don't want anybody to call me brown nosy. They'll call me a brown nose, it's fine. Just do it in the comments and watch my video while you're doing it. Call whatever you want. So you scroll down, you see these impressive seals. And on the top of them impressive seals, I'm now on page 10 of 25. It says Russia's influence campaign. Now, I was saying Russia's influence campaign, and I couldn't, but I realized they're saying Russia's influence campaign. In other words, their campaign to influence, targeting the 2016 U.S. presidential election. And then they got the impressive seals. Scroll down. I'm now at page 11 of 25. It says Russia's influence campaign. It says the same daggone thing. It says, look, after this big bold, all this, and again, it has on each page that declaration of this report is declassified version of a high classified assessment, semicolon, its conclusions are identical, blah, 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 blah. So what it's telling you is, this is the, they're saying, you're a mushroom. We're going to keep you in the dark and feed you dung. That's what they're telling you. Well, we're going to give you what you, a need-to-know basis, soldiers and citizens alike, and they don't believe, I don't think they believe we need to know. Let me play something real quick before I digress too much, and I want to read this. I am still on page 11 of 25. David, you know, I just want you to read the document and to download this document from, go to Drudge Report, and then you click on that link. It's Bloomberg Politics that says Trump says only fools see good ties with Russia as bad. Click on that. Scroll right down. It's just right there. It's like two little scrolls if you're just as fast as mine. And you'll see, read the full. It starts out, it says, facing calls to strike back at Russia for what U.S. intelligence agencies have termed Moscow's interference with the 2016 U.S. presidential election campaign. Donald Trump instead suggested warmer relations between the two countries. And then you read, there's one more paragraph, and it says, read the full report. And hey, I suggest you read this article too, but look, I don't like to, if I'm going to get shoveled dung, I don't want you to go get dung from the cow or the horse or the mule, wherever the dung comes from, the human, wherever the dung comes from. I want you to go get the dung, and then you bring the dung and shovel it to me. I'd rather the animal just shovel it right on me. It's right out of the poop chute, fresh. So, you know, I go read Bloomberg, but they're spin on it. You can just click that thing that says read full report here, PDF. Don't be afraid. I've got my computer here. It didn't get hurt when I did it. And I open it up. Now I'm on page 11 of 25, and we're going to start reading here in just a second, where it says Putin ordered campaign to influence U.S. elections. But hang on, I think I can hear him. There's somebody who wants to say something about what is on the top of this page. I'm not going to read it all again, but it says this report is a classified version of a highly classified assessment, semicolon, its conclusions are identical to those of the highly classified assessment, but this version does not include full supporting information on key elements of the influence campaign. Well, what is that? Well, did you have something to say? Hang on. I think I hear him coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. I could not have said that better myself. So now I'm going to go back to the document without digressing at all, because as I said, there's no way I could possibly say it better than President Kennedy. Putin ordered campaign to influence U.S. election. We're on page, I don't want to be redundant, but some people, hey, I don't want to have them rewind if you're watching. Page 11 of 25. Putin ordered campaign to influence U.S. election. We assess with high confidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an influence campaign in 2016 aimed at the U.S. presidential election. The consistent goals of which were to undermine public faith in the U.S. democratic process, denigrate Secretary Clinton. Man, come on, I got to put a little plug in here. Go watch, because this is so, denigrating poor Miss Clinton, Miss Secretary Clinton. Go watch TheBritishers, the biggest victim of 2016. You'll see it. Scroll down. I mean, man, come on. Mrs. Clinton? Hussein Bolt? Who that? All right, hang on. Let me get back to this. So this is Putin. It didn't even call him out. It said Putin. We assess that veteran Putin influenced the 2016 aim at the U.S. presidential election and consistent goals of which were to undermine public faith in the U.S. democratic process, denigrate Secretary Clinton, and harm her eligibility and potential presidency. They just can't take it. I remember the night the white lash from, oh my goodness gracious, man, from Van. You know, the whole thing, the whole freak show was out in full force. And your ever-loving Ogre, I stayed up all night long. And I'm telling you right now, folks, if Hillary would have won, I'd be sitting here telling you, look, calm down. The world's not going to end. It's fear porn mongering 99% of the time. Just go to the horse's patootie if you want to get shoveled. That's all I'm saying. All right, here we go. I can't believe some of this stuff. And I mean, imagine the person that wrote this. It just made so much money. I can't get over that fact. And I'm just saying that because of a good friend of mine that I plug all the time. You know, he's constantly saying, it's your taxpayer money, it's your taxpayer money, and it's our taxpayer money, man. What are they doing with it? It's like, you know, if you go to a church and you suddenly get this new pastor and they find out that you had stashed in Cradle Roll and in the kindergarten and you got stashed here and there, 20 grand here and 50 grand there. And, you know, that your church actually has, you know, $400,000 laying around that it's saved diligently. I don't want to digress too much, but pay attention because the taxpayers' money and messing with the interest rates, it's all the same thing. Please don't steal from me. I'm going to wrap it up from that because I'll have a whole video on what I'm about to say. And, you know, the Britisher is right. And so is a lot of other people in my life that told me, take your point. Instead of making the shotgun blast, take the arrow. So it's kind of going to be flechette, which are little arrows that shoot out of a shotgun. So here we go. Get ready for your flechette, 12-gauge flechette blast with 32 little steel arrows coming out. We're going back to the government document. Remember, this is a government document. Page 11, 25 of what they want to give you. And we heard what President Kennedy has to say about what they're hiding from us. I'll tell you at the end what I think about the sources. So, denigrate poor Secretary Clinton and harm her electability and potential presidency. We further assess Putin and the Russian government developed a clear preference for Sorry. So sorry. I don't know how some of these talking heads can read some of this stuff that they got to read. Because I can read, man. I can read okay, at least. And, man, I can't read some of this without laughing. So here we go. Where were we? Putin. My name, okay? Putin and the Russian government developed a clear preference for President-elect Trump when it appeared to Moscow that Secretary Clinton was likely to win the election, and the Russian influence campaign then focused on undermining her expected presidency. Listen, I mean, it's almost like they're trying to cover their butts. This is what I think. Okay, is that they're trying to cover their butts because they were probably telling important people, man, these are the right polls and we're really asking people the right questions and he's not going to get in there. And who knows what they were telling them. I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to go so, look, no tinfoil, no tinfoil. I'm not going to go so far as to say that there was someone standing there saying, you know, telling them what to do or whatever, but I don't know, or telling that they would be hurt. Who knows? Man, this is some deep stuff, though, what they're trying to give me here. Okay, her expected presidency. Now there's a bullet point, if you're on page 11 of this document with me, that you hopefully got off of Bloomberg Politics from Drudge Report link. I'm not going to go through all that again. If you didn't see it, you can rewind. I've already done it like 4 times. We also assess at the bullet point, we also assess Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's See, they're calling him President-elect. So they're making these determinations after, okay? First, the mainstream media comes at you, the legacy media, whatever you want to call them. Check out Bill Still, man. He ain't legacy media. Bill Still reporting from Washington, D.C., I believe, if they ain't got him. And I don't want no trouble either, man. I'm just a little guy. I just want to point to stuff that I think might be hypocrisy. And then I get some British guy that ain't got no reason that says I have moral fortitude to take swings at the right and the left. I take swings at evil and horrible horror. In my mind right now, listen, I don't want to pull a Alex Jones or some craziness, okay? And I'm not gonna. But this stuff, you know, I want to talk about Don Lemon. I'm not going to apologize to the man, and I still demand on humanity's behalf that Don Lemon makes an apology. Don Lemon, if you dig me, Don Lemon, make an apology, man. You know, just do it. It's easy. This stuff is unbelievable. Let me read this document a little bit more. In trying to influence the U.S. election, we assess the Kremlin sought to advance its long-standing desire to undermine the U.S.-led liberal democratic order, the promotion of which Putin and other senior Russian leaders view as a threat to Russia and Putin's regime. Well, I don't know what to say. First, the mainstream, this was my point. First, the mainstream media tells you Russian hackers, you know, Russians have hacked, Russia's hacked, and it doesn't matter which channel you turn on. I've seen these compilations where it's the weather in San Diego today is going to be rainy, so for one time, take your umbrella. And then all across the nation, they're saying the same thing. The weather in San Diego is going to be rainy today, so take your umbrella. And I just made that up. But whatever line it is, they're all saying it. They're all telling you. And when that's happening, it's because it's coming from two sources. That's why you got to get out here and you got to, I don't want to digress that far. But first they're telling you that they're hacking. And I even asked my wife, and then, you know, I said, what, you know, Mrs. Ogre, what does that make you feel when they say, and she's not a news junkie. She could have this stuff all balled up and tossed in the ocean. But I was, Mrs. Ogre, what does it make you feel when you hear the talking heads, the beautiful talking heads say that the Kremlin has hacked, Russia has hacked. Everybody thinks they got into the voting machines. It's not worse. The ladies I voted in Ogreville. If the only way I've ever seen it is one of the news companies that I will never plug. But if you look for the video, type in hack voting machines, they take a credit card, they slip it into a thing on the machine, and it takes a minute, and then it'll flip the vote. But then you have to know your candidate is going to lose. You have to know it. Your analytics on it have to be perfect or really close. And you have to know they're going to lose or lose by a landslide. And then I guess that would be easy. But a lot of elections are close. And so it would just flip it. And in Ogreville, you'd have to get by these ladies where the Ogre wore a Trump button. But I didn't say anything. I just had it on my lapel. That's it. I went and I did all the Ogreing that I had to do. And when I was done, I said something to the lady that took my ballot and fed it to the machine. That can't be hacked. It's not plugged into the internet. It's plugged into the wall. That's the point. And if you could get by them, because as soon as I pointed it out, she was like, oh, you got to take that off. And I knew it. I already had it ready. I didn't even have it clipped. I just popped it off. This button right here. I got some chicken feathers on. I know I've shown it in other videos, but some people are just tuning in for the first time. It's one of my lucky buttons. They want you to believe a narrative. And now our government is coming out with what kind of looks like a completely different narrative, but saying the same thing. Oh, Mrs. Clinton. She lost. So we got to make an excuse. Is that all this is? CIA and NSA and FBI? Now, look, I don't want to question you. I don't want to try. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no problems with anybody. But what I want to question is, are you wasting money? I saw a gentleman, the bastard man, covering a story about the EPA people sitting around watching pornography for up to, I don't want to exaggerate, but I'm almost positive, this is from memory, up to 6 hours of a work day. Pornography, okay? And who pays the EPA? I ask you, my good American citizens, not you, Britisher, or any other brothers and sisters from other countries. I feel for the problems that I'm sure you have, and to your governments, I also say, same thing I say to Don Lemon. I want to be consistent. You may think I smoke. I do not. I do not condone smoking. But it's so cold in Ogreville right now. Bitter is what my dear old dad would say, whom my mama just sent me a picture, and I will upload a picture of the dear old Ogre. He's still going. He's 83. Keep on going, Dad. Keep breathing in, keep breathing out. Love you very much. Bullet point number 3. I didn't even call out bullet point number 2. I'm on page 11. I'm not going to be able to do this if I keep going this way. So I'm going to try to get through about 3 or 4 bullet points. Putin publicly pointed to Panama Papers disclosure and the Olympic doping scandal as U.S. directed efforts to defame Russia, suggesting he sought to use disclosures to discredit the image of the United States and cast it as hypocritical. So Putin publicly pointed at these Panama Papers. If you don't know any of this stuff, look it up. When you have this document in front of you, you'll be able to look it up. It'd take me too long to explain all this stuff and digress and read this. Excuse me. Now I'm back at the same page on the top of the, right underneath the big bold Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 U.S. presidential election on page 11 on the right-hand column, first bullet point. Putin most likely wanted to discredit Secretary Clinton because he has publicly blamed her since 2011 for inciting mass protests against his regime. I'm telling you, I don't know how they do it. Against his regime in late 2011 or early 2012. And because he holds a grudge for comments he almost certainly saw as disparaging to him. We assess Putin, his advisors, and the Russian government developed a clear preference for President-elect Trump over Secretary Clinton. Listen, I'm so sorry that some folks voted for Trump because they liked him. There's one category. Some folks voted for Trump because they thought he was a better choice than the others. Than the other one. Some folks voted for Trump because it was a vote for not Hillary. Some folks, and there's many other categories, but to me those are the main categories of people. It appears to me, and I don't, I won't lie, I dipped into the salt mining videos afterwards because these people would have spit in my eye because I don't really know why. I'd like to tell you why. That's why I started this channel, is to get some people to help me figure out why people just can't be people. Why an ogre just can't be an ogre. And why a brother just can't be a brother. And a China can't just be Chinese. And a Japanese just can't be a Japanese. And brothers and sisters, please don't call me a white supremacist. My heart is breaking right now thinking of it. Because brothers and sisters, I'm 3/4 Jewish. I don't come to you as a Zionist Jew. I worship the Sabbath day, but I don't come to you as a religious Jew. I come to you as a Jew that keeps the Sabbath day, and that's enough that you need to know about me. But it breaks my heart I would think that I could consider that someone would think that I was a white supremacist because I would say that you should be proud to be black, brothers and sisters. Don't let anybody tell you you're weak ever. You should be proud to be Hispanic. You don't ever let anybody tell you you're stupid or you can't go into the STEM side of the college and make your money, make your mark on life. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're Chinese and you can't learn English and learn to, whatever. I said learn English. That sounds Amerocentric. I'm sorry, I am American. Second bullet point down on the right-hand side, page 11. Government document. Let me look at the time. It's 23 minutes. Like I said, I'm going to go do this. One page at least. Beginning in June, Putin's public comments about the United States presidential race avoided directly praising President-elect Trump, probably because Kremlin officials thought that any praise from Putin personally would backfire in the United States. Nonetheless, Putin publicly indicated a preference for President-elect Trump's stated policy to work with Russia, and pro-Kremlin figures spoke highly about what they saw as his Russian-friendly positions. I mean, on Syria and the Ukraine, I don't even listen. Somebody that knows who Slobodan Milosevic put it in the comments. And you know what? I don't even want to get into back the ones that don't back ISIS. Listen, diplomacy ends at the water's edge. I'm a non-interventionist, if I got to be honest with you folks. The only way I'd want to fight is if someone was to attack one of our folk, and if someone was to attack, someplace like Ethiopia. We helped them against Eritrea. We did look into it. And Eritrea is just a little tiny country. They started with a rock and a stick, and they took an M16. They actually, they'll tell you, look into Eritrea. That way I'm lying. It's right there below Africa. Your average everyday ogre, has a relatively high IQ. He's not a moron. He wants to educate himself. He wants to become better. This stuff is making my brains feel like somebody's stomping them with a boot. And in Winston, I feel like my face is going to be stepped on with a boot forever. Russian friendly positions on Syria and the Ukraine. Putin publicly contrasted the president-elect's approach to Russia with Secretary Clinton's aggressive rhetoric. What would you want, brothers and sisters? Do you want a neighbor that's richer and more powerful than you moving in next to you? And I mean, that's fine, that part of it. But moving in next to you saying, I'm going to build a fortress and point machine guns at this person, and as soon as I see them walk into the car, I'm going to start trying to take them out and their families. I heard somebody say, man, I heard people say, I've heard Clinton, and a lot of people say they want to go to war with Russia over this hacking stuff. Please, President Trump, as one of your constituents, I am your constituency. Don't go to war with anybody. Bring all of our boys home. If your heart is hard, talk to Mattis, the warrior monk. He'll tell you, don't ever spend a Marine's life unnecessarily, or any other. No British, no Kenyans, no Ukrainians, no Estonians, no Latvians, no Lithuanians, no Bosnians, no Herzegovinians, no Slobodan Milosevic's. No. Because there's some of us out here that have the intestinal fortitude to take swings at all the evil that we see. And I see the evil in your document here. CIA, NSA, FBI, I respect you. Comey, I have no idea why you did what you did. As a person that pays a small amount of your salary, I would just say that it was weird, dude. It was weird. I got some roosters that are like what I observed Comey do. I've seen roosters do it in the chicken yard. What they'll do is they see a hen over there, and they see a rooster that's tougher than them, and they want to get that hen, and they'll run over there and they'll get on, because the hen kind of does, if they're going to let them, they kind of do like this and let the rooster do his thing. It's weird how they do it. They just touch butts and it's over. It's strange. Birds are strange. And he'll run over there and try to just get it before that big rooster gets him. And man, almost inevitably, once in a while, that's why they try it. Once in a while, it gets it. So Comey's been getting his little bit once in a while, and this time, when he went over to get his little bit, the rooster kicked his butt. And I'm trying to be quiet, just because I don't know why, because it's late, and this stuff is so serious. It's so serious. Why are they pulling this out? Why can't we see the whole thing? At this point, I don't want to keep snuffling and sniffling it. I'm not gonna. But hang in there with me till about 35 minutes or so, 40 minutes, and we're gonna look at this document, and we're gonna think a little bit deeper about why. Moscow, I'm on, let's see, 1, 2, I'm down 1, 2, 3, the third bullet point down in the right-hand column, page 11. Moscow also saw the election of President-elect Trump as a way to achieve an international counterterrorism coalition against the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, ISIL. Now why is that a bad thing? I don't know. Somebody please tell me in the comments if somebody knows. First to the last bullet point, Putin has had many positive experiences working with Western political leaders whose business interests made them more disposed to deal with Russia, such as former Italian Prime Minister Slovo Berlusconi. Sorry, sir. I mean it. I don't know if you're evil or good, but I'm sorry. I butchered your name. And former German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder. I only know that because I've heard it said. Putin, Russians, this is the last bullet point, Putin, Russian officials, and other pro-Kremlin pundits stopped publicly criticizing the U.S. election process as unfair almost immediately after the election, because Moscow probably assessed it would be counterproductive to building positive relations. We assessed the influence campaign And that's what they're calling it, the influence campaign. We assess the influence campaign aspired to help President-elect Trump's chances of victory when possible by discrediting Secretary Clinton and publicly contrasting her unfavorably to the President-elect. Period. I mean, this stuff, man. When it appeared to Moscow that Secretary Clinton was likely to win the presidency, the Russian influence campaign focused more on undercutting Secretary Clinton's legitimacy and crippling her presidency from its start, including by impinging the fairness of the election. To accuse them of impinging the fairness of the election is serious charges in my mind. And by the way, I'm on page 12. The first bullet point, that was the wrap-up bullet point of page 11, the last one. Before the election, Russian diplomats had publicly announced the U.S. electoral process and were prepared to publicly call into question the validity of the results. Pro-Kremlin bloggers had prepared a Twitter campaign. I think they're intentionally doing this. Some of this stuff, and man, I'm telling you, I read Moby Dick. I mean, I could just sit here and name it. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. You know, I read stuff that's old a lot of the times. I read The Great Controversy by Ellen G. White, Testimony to the Churches. I read that by Mrs. White. I read a lot of stuff that's written in a language that really most Americans wouldn't understand. It's English. I think that some English people, you know who you are, would know, would be able to understand it. I bet an English guy I know, you know who you are. I bet an English guy I know would be able to read Moby Dick, no problem, because he's got a brain in his head. He speaks English, can figure it out. Long sentences don't terrify. I don't think long sentences terrify Donald Trump. I have a tendency to break off in mid-sentence, and there's a reason why people do that, okay? I've studied influence techniques for a large chunk of my life. And what Donald Trump is doing when he's giving you a speech and he says, hey, listen, I'm going to do yada, yada, thus, and it kind of breaks it off and goes on. It's what he's doing is he's giving you 40 minutes of content of this speech that's starting with wonderful things, and then he leaves. It doesn't do it every time, but about every second or third point that he's making, he leaves it dangling, leaves a hanger there for you. That's what it's called. He leaves a hanger. And when you do that, the person's subconscious mind, there's a lot of tricks you can see on the internet and site. If you just type in psychological illusions or just illusions, you know, there's a lot of tricks where there's stationary things look like they're moving. He's doing something, but it's auditorily. It's through your ears. It's you hear it. It's auditorily. I don't know how a simpler way to say it. I'm sorry, and I don't think there is one. He's leaving these hangers there, so you fill it in with your ideas of the best. So what he's done is he's given you a speech that is, and a lot of greats do this, giving you a speech that is 1/3 his and 2/3 yours. You're welcome, Trump. I just told on you. Russian campaign was multifaceted. You know, I don't know if I'm even going to read much more of this. It's 33 minutes. I told you all 35 minutes, and I'm going to keep this one at 35 because I wanted to upload tonight. And here in Ogreville, it's 9:37. To most people, that might not seem early. But it is. Let me look. I'm going to call this up while I continue to talk. I don't like dead air. I don't want y'all to have to deal with dead air. I want you to at least hear me speaking to you the entire time. No songs in this one. I'm going to put songs over the top of it, but no songs for me. Because it's not, to me, it's not a fun thing. It's actually warmed up a wee bit. It's 11 degrees out with a wind chill of -2. These are Fahrenheit. It's -19 Celsius and -12 Celsius with no wind, just standing there. The low tonight will be 4, so that's like negative. I don't know. Somebody tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. 4 Fahrenheit would be somewhere around -20 Celsius. That's cold, folks. I go out there and the ogre's beard, my breath turns to ice almost instantly. And when I'm out there feeding my birds, I found a bird just dead in the coop this morning. Frozen. There was a bird underneath my lawn, one of my old lawn tractors, and it was underneath there and alive. It's in my bathroom right now. I wish this thing was mobile. I would take it in there and show you my bird. We have named her, oh, I'm going to forget the name, but it's the Ice Queen from the series Narnia, you know, the bad woman that made the 100 Years Winter, if you've read the book. Anyway, we named her after Ariel. Oh, I'm going to forget. Somebody tell me in the comments. This is wrapping up, but listen. don't blindly take, because if you look at this document, and I hope you are looking at this document, that's the point of this. I didn't just do this so that you could hear me read a tiny bit and rant a little bit. I'm glad if you enjoyed that. I hope I even kept it down a little bit and kept this real a little bit and didn't tell Don Lemon to, and your government to, and my government, and the NSA and the FBI and the CIA and the rest of them to do it. You know, to just go and take a fly on one at a rolling donut. Listen, I'm going to just say this very briefly, and this is with all the kindness of respect to my two new and dear friends, one the Hard Bastard and the other the Britisher. I would say that my channel, I'm going to strive to be PG. PG. Parental guidance. If someone is not 18 years old, I don't know. This day and age, I'll be honest, I would say I'm, what is it, like, PG-13, I think, makes it worse. But I would say that if you're not at least 14 years old, you should at least go have your mom look at the Ogre's channel and say, Mom or Dad or both, preferably both, and say, you know, parents, should I be watching this guy? And they'll, hopefully, I think Mom and Dad, you should tell them yes, because I'm not going to lie to them, and I'm not going to swear, and I'm not going to do anything wrong with your children or try to pump anything into their head. But I am going to tell them to question their government, and you may not like that. So I would say I'm PG 15, 14. If you're not 14 yet, and if you're like 13 and a half, don't give me that crap. Watch your mama, boy. Watch your mama, girl. Get off this channel. I would say please don't be mad at me because I like this guy. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about it. And it is, woof. Dang on it. See, that's why I'm a certain level, and I didn't mean to do that. It's just because I get revved up, and I don't want anybody to be, I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to give it to you like it is. I would say the Hard Bastards are rated R. And that means, you know, if you're not 18, I don't know. And it's not because of the thing that you probably think in Hard Bastard if you do get this far in this video. It's not because of certain words that someone of my persuasion wouldn't say. It's because that word just slipped out of me. You know what? I take that back. I would say that the Hard Bastard is a PG 15. If you're not 15, you're on the Hard Bastard's channel. Get off it. The Britisher, I say that's a G. Anyone, any child, anybody, because he's careful. He was so careful about this Ronnie Hutton, and he's so careful to, even when it's controversial, man, I don't know if it's the British accent. I don't know. And there's other folks, but I'm telling you, right now, folks, I'm sticking with the small fries. I'm not even going to mention some folks I mentioned before. You might see me mocking them, and you might figure out with my horrible impressions that I'm mocking some certain person or other. But the only thing I'm going to say is, hey, fat boy, where's Jakari Jackson? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Why did Joe Biggs left? And then you make Leanne sit with these other, and, you know, let David Knight, you know, and would you just go on vacation? Don't you have an island somewhere? Go away. Just let someone else fresh and, you know, David Knight, you're great, awesome. The day you leave, McAdoo, I almost call her McAdoo, that's why I'm 14. McAdoo, Leanne McAdoo, she's great. The day either one of those leaves, fat boy, I'm never tuning in again. And I say that with some kind of tiny respect for some of the excellent documentaries, and especially for sneaking into the Bohemian Grove. You crazy, crazy troll. You nut troll. You were freaking out of your mind. You can sit there, I ain't afraid of shit, I don't afraid of nothing, I do anything in the world I ain't afraid of. I'll stand up next to a mountain and drop it down with the edge of my hand. I know it was originally Jimi Hendrix, but that was a little something there for my English friend, because he made mention that I may be related to a certain person that used to cover that song. Steve Ray Vaughan. Thanks, brother. You know, yeah. Anyway, it's nice to be good to each other. It's good to be good to each other. But I'm not trying to be mean to the fat boy. I'm just saying, where's Jakari Jackson? I like Jakari Jackson. And to be honest, where are you, Jakari? I'm going to, in fact, when I get off here while this is loading, changing into the thing where I can load it up on YouTube, I'm going to look for Jakari and actually watch Joe Biggs' Why I Left InfoWars. I'm just hoping, Joe, they paid you off, though. You took some money. I'm not saying that they paid you off either, Joe Biggs, and I'm not afraid you're coming to my house. You don't even know where I live. But I'm only saying that it seems so terrible. It seems like something bad is happening over there. Hope all this is coming through good. I've stepped back away from the microphone. I've still yet to hook this baby up, this microphone. It's not like the light stand. it was just a, just a hat rack, but now it's upgraded from hat rack to light stand. Now there's one other thing. I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but over my shoulder here, the entire time just about I've been talking, has been a guitar right there. Ding, been a guitar. Somebody tell me in the comments also what kind of guitar that is. As the harder things I ask, like name the blues songs that are over top of me in order, if somebody ever does that, especially on a long video like this, I'm telling you what, if somebody names them in order, I will let you pick any popular song, including rap, from 1978 to 1985, and I will attempt my best to play it on the drums, bass, and guitar, and do the vocals. Anything that you want, anything, and I mean it, anything, anything. Can't go further than that. So remember, just listen in for these good things, but if you've seen that guitar over my shoulder right there, this one right here, ding, then tell me what kind of guitar that is in the comments. And remember, do the digging for yourself. And I'm almost sad to part from you tonight, YouTube, because I have so much I want to say, but we'll have time together. You come back now, okay? You come into the Ogre's place. And look around for a minute. Come into his mind. Get a diversity of ideas. Remember that your government may not always be your friend, but they're not your enemy. Don't look at enemies and friends. Diplomacy should end at the water's edge unless somebody great like England or France or Uganda gets attacked ruthlessly by somebody else and you're watching slaughter. And even then it's sketchy. And remember this, folks. Be good to the ones you love. Forgive them fast. Be quick to say, hey man, everything's going to be all right. We're always going to be family and we're always going to be friends till we draw our last breath. Because in an hour you think not, your loved one will depart from you.